はい、皆様こんにちは。ダッソーシステムズ森脇と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。本日のこのセッションはですね、私がコーディネーターとして進行役を務めさせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。私以外にですね、3名のですね、ダッソーシステムの社員がこのセッションの中でサポートをしていきたいと思いますので、よろしくお願いいたします。まず都市の課題ということで、もちろん過疎という問題もあるんですけども、全般的にはですね、都市部に人口が集中するという傾向は世界的に共通しています。その中でですね、交通の渋滞の緩和であったりとか、新しいモビリティをどう展開するかということですね。それからエネルギーの供給をどのように賄っていくのか、これは再生可能なエネルギーということも含めてなんですけども、そういったことですね。もろもろたくさんの課題を今現状都市は抱えているというようなことだと思います。その中でですね、昨今コロナのことがありますので、そういった感染症というようなことを含めた、あとは気候のですね、温暖化などもろもろのそういったいわゆる危機管理的なところもございますし、先ほど申し上げましたような新しいモビリティの在り方をどうするかということですね。全般として生活の快適さというものをどのように改善していくか、そして結果としてですね、経済をどのように活性化していくか、そういったことがですね、政府レベルあるいは自治体レベルで求められているということではないかと思います。でその時にですね、都市というのはシステムオブシステムという言葉があるんですけども、実はシステム、例えば下水道のシステムとかですね、エネルギーのシステムとか、都市というのはさまざまな交通システムなんかもそうなんですけども、さまざまなシステムの集合体、システムを取りまとめる大きなシステムだというようなことも言えるんではないかと思います。でその中でですね、実際にいろんな情報のトランザクションが起きているんですけども、それがそれぞれの点と点が結ばっているだけですね、なかなか統合してないということが今問題になっています。その統合されていない状態をですね、一つの、統合したですね、情報のハブにまとめることでですね、そのハブを、見える化して、分かりやすくしていくということが我々の目指している、スマートシティのプラットフォームということになります。でこのスマートシティのですね、プラットフォームのことを違い方するとコモンデータエンバラメントというような形で、誰でもがですね、参照することができる共通のですね、データ基盤というような言い方をしております。でまずはデータをですね、さまざまなデータを集めて、それは地形のデータ、例えばドローンで撮ったデータ、GIS のデータ、マップの地図の情報ですね、そういったものをまとめて、一つの統合した地形の都市レベルのモデル、もう少しエリアのものもあるかもしれません。そういったものを作り、それをですね、関係者間でコミュニケーションをして、インタラクションしていく、そしてそのプロセスにおけるですね、承認をしたりですね、スケジュールの計画を立て、トラッキングをしていくと、こういった総合的なことをすることがですね、必要なのがコモンデータエンバラメントであり、スマートシティのためのプラットフォームであるというふうに我々考えています。こういったものをですね、目指して過去ですね、複数のプロジェクトを行ってきました。でこの後ですね、特にですね、初期からこの我々のプラットフォームを作る上でパートナーシップを長年やってきていますレンヌ市ですね、フランスのレンヌ市に関してですね、まず私どものフランスの2人のスタッフからご紹介を差し上げたいと思います。ではこちらの話に移行しますのでお願いします。
Welcome everyone, I'm Fabrice Servant. I've been working for Dassault Systèmes for the last 20 years, and I'm pleased to welcome Guillaume Lenoël, who is the project lead for the Virtual REN project. But before he tells us about the project by itself, can you, Guillaume, tell us a bit more about the city?
Yes. In France, there is a national initiative to regroup cities in metropolis. Rennes is the 10th largest one. It has a very strong innovation ecosystem, particularly in the digital field, with many companies and universities. In fact, it's not the privilege of big cities to be smart. All cities face great complexity in developing in a more sustainable and resilient way. And a city like Rennes has also in mind the question of population density. What is interesting with Rennes is that they have been using 3D virtual twin for a long time to communicate with citizens. We therefore propose them to capitalize on this knowledge and use a data referential to facilitate the city management.
That's very interesting. It's good to know that smart city projects are not the privilege of large cities, and it seems that it's very innovative. So, what are their objectives?
In fact, if we consider the transformation processes of the city are clearly changing. It's now based on the transversality and collaboration of institutional, private, and civil society actors. Thus, the city is a conductor who decides and coordinates activities. By relying on its local ecosystem, it promotes economic development and innovation. The objective of the project was therefore to demonstrate the value of the 3D Experience platform to enable the city to coordinate the work of the local departments and the ecosystem, to improve, finally, the public services for the citizens.
Yeah, I think that those objectives will resonate with other cities. And, well, I think it's interesting to see that they're looking at somehow breaking silos. So can you give us a bit more detail about how we are really helping them?
Yes. We don't have the time to see all the use cases, but let's focus on some of them. In fact, we are working with 12 major use cases to demonstrate the value of the platform. Half of them are related to city planning activities. So we have been focusing on urban project collaboration processes because it involves a lot of stakeholders. So the project manager is working with urban designers, real estate developers, architects, graphic designers, and many civil municipal departments. Using the platform, urban project managers are collaborating through a dedicated dashboard with all their stakeholders. They are using document management, task management, communities, and a set of city applications to coordinate and review their project in context. At any time, the mediation officer is also having access to a validated view of the project, and he can share it towards the citizen to engage communication and dialogue with them. Finally, this kind of scenario is very easy and quick to deploy using the platform. We have a lot of other scenarios that we are working on with Rennes, and some of them are already deployed and used in a very effective way.
Okay, so it's really more than just 3D, and it really encompasses all stakeholders. Okay, so have you been able to identify some benefits already?
Yes. In fact, having a unified data repository allows multidisciplinary and multi-scale approach to link the different issues of the territory. This effective collaboration between numerous municipal services is an asset for optimizing the use of the city's resources, and it is very important. These collaboration capabilities are transforming urban design practices to improve project quality and profitability. Furthermore, the 3D virtual twin allows in-context presentation of the project, and it helps a lot in explaining complex public policies, as we have today. Overall, the management of new governance models is essential in the digital transformation of the city. And we, as Dasso System, we are helping them into this digital transformation.
It's interesting. It's like helping all the stakeholders to connect the dots about the transformation. Okay. And so, are we looking to next steps with Rennes Metropolis?
Yes, we already have a set of new fields to investigate. We are extending the use of the platform into new areas. For example, we are testing one application for energy planning in relation to a climate change plan. We are also looking at vegetation, Vegetation is a major issue right now because it affects global warming, biodiversity, quality of life, and we are providing an application with new KPIs to improve the follow-up of this kind of policies. We are also deepening the uses of the platform related to urban studies, for example, for construction permit studies, and also for citizen mediation, where the platform is already used in some places of the city, but we will reinforce this kind of use towards the citizen. We also have some other use cases. For example, we are using coordination on top of BIM models in some technical departments of the city.
Yeah, I bet that will interest a lot of cities. Sounds great. Well, Guillaume, thank you very much for sharing that with us. And I look forward to meet you again to see about the new perspective on virtual RAN. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabrice.
Rennes Métropole is a metropolitan public institution. It's a city with a very strong innovation ecosystem, particularly in the digital domain. Rennes Métropole needed to address the complexity of the city and to be able to work with all the region's stakeholders using an innovative tool.
Today, in the city domain, unfortunately we tend to think in silos, but the city doesn't work that way, so we need a more systemic approach for all stakeholders to work better together and collaborate around a common referential that allows them to simulate the evolutions of the city. We have partnered with Dassault Systèmes to help us set up a platform on the cloud called 3D Experience City Virtual Rennes. This will enable all city stakeholders to remotely share data that will allow them to simulate and better observe urban phenomena.
Our goal is to create a digital twin of the city, an intelligent digital model based on geometric and topographical elements, demographic, mobility, and health data, and all other systems. This intelligent digital model, once integrated into the 3D Experience platform, becomes a foundation that all stakeholders of the city, both internal and external, can access to stimulate, plan, and manage the city in a transversal and collaborative way. The Bento project, for example, aims to develop a building-wide energy map based on demographic, land, and energy data that are currently only available on a neighborhood scale. This approach of cross-referencing data developed at different scales, once they are integrated into the collaborative platform, will enable the development of effective public policies. I believe that Dassault Systèmes has acquired expertise in cities. It's a win-win partnership that we have built together to create a tool that truly meets local authorities' expectations.
はい、いかがでしょうか。フランスのレンヌ市がですね、どのような課題を抱え、どのようなことに取り組んできたかということをご理解いただけたのではないかと思います。で、この後ですね、フランスのレンヌ市だけではなくて、シンガポール、現状香港ですね、あと中国と韓国でもプロジェクトを進めております。日本でもこの後プロジェクトがありますのでお話したいと思いますけども、そういった経験値をですね反映させて、私どもはパッケージ化したですねソリューションというものをすでに発売を開始しております。それがインクルーシブ・アーバン・フューチャーというものになります。で、スマートシティのソリューションというとですね、ゼロから全てを作り上げていくというイメージを持たれるかもしれませんが、我々のスタンスとしましてはですね、クラウド環境でですね、短期間ですぐにその基本的なですね、スマートシティに必要な都市モデルを作れると いう環境をパッケージ化して提供しています。もちろんこれは拡張可能ですので、必要な機能などをそこに追加するということも可能なんですけども、そのインクルーシブアーバンフューチャーということに関してですね、担当のギヨームからこの後ご紹介をしたいと思います。ではよろしくお願いします。
Hello everybody, I'm Guillaume Lenoël. In Dassault System, I'm in charge of a solution called Inclusive Urban Future. So that will be the focus of this presentation. First, let's see what are the challenges and the drivers we are focusing on through this solution. In fact, whereas more and more people are living in cities, the challenge is to provide the expected prosperity and quality of life. That is the first main challenge. Then, cities have to be more sustainable and resilient. This clearly leads to more complexity, while they have to manage a lot of complex systems inside the city. Then, the design and the delivery of public services is more often relying on civil and citizen participation. More generally, the involvement of many actors implies new collaboration practices inside the city, new organizational models. So the challenge for us is to help cities to meet these challenges by making the best use of available resources. Let's have now a deep dive into the solution. So our solution is based on 6 main blocks, what we call industry processes. So I will describe all of them. So the first one is what we call urban referential management and qualification. So it is the capability into the platform to gather all the geo-referenced information coming from different systems and to unify it, to qualify it, and to make it available to all the actors through web applications, so very easy access to all this kind of information. Having access to information is key. And then we have the second industry process, which is understand. I would say when you are defining a new policy, you first have to understand the situation of the city, having access to a lot of information, be able to visualize it, to analyze it, to have a clear understanding, and then you will define options for the future. So you will start to define programs and projects through master plans, for example, which will define your policies in terms of mobility, energy, urbanism, urban planning, and things like that. The third industry process is dedicated to what we call ecosystem orchestration, considering that the city is an ecosystem of various stakeholders working together. They have to collaborate, but there are a lot of different levels of collaboration between those actors, from very small companies to large companies, city operators. There are architects, real estate developers, universities, a lot of different processes to be handled for the same purpose. So the platform is very powerful to connect these actors and to allow them to work together in a single unified environment. On top of that, the platform has also openness capabilities to allow some dedicated application, for example, applications that could be developed by local companies to provide added services related to very specific local issues. The next industry process is dedicated to project coordination and execution. To deliver public services, you will probably support the projects. So it is equipments, it can be infrastructure and services, and all those, the delivery of these assets, is based on projects. So project management is really key. It's relying on a bunch of actors, as I mentioned, but we also need to provide some tools for urban studies, for example, to ensure great quality into the project and profitability through better execution. Then we also are focusing in this solution on the communication. Communication is key, is something that happens between professionals, but also towards citizens. So at any time of the projects, of the policy deployment, you may need to communicate. And using single data referential, on top of that, we are able to provide 3D representation. So that is very useful, and at any time we have communication capabilities available for all stakeholders. The last one is dedicated to the follow-up of all the programs and projects we have been talking about. You know, you have a lot of public policies inside the city. As I mentioned, vegetation, mobility, energy, all those complex things have to be managed and aligned correctly as they are connected one to each other. And we are providing through the platform the capability to provide the right KPIs to ensure that the public policies are really fitting the needs of the citizens. So this solution, Inclusive Urban Future, is fully relying on the 3D Experience platform and is really targeting the public policy lifecycle from the definition to implementation and the follow-up, which is a kind of iteration process. And I will explain it now in a different way, just to be very clear on what we are providing. We can consider that the city's evolution is a kind of cycle. So the transformation of the city is happening through a kind of different cycles, starting from the vision, the challenges from the city officials to the planning, and then the execution of the projects from the review, different initiatives, execution, and then evaluating the transformation results of the projects. So if I'm now mapping the processes I have just described before, we are starting from policy making, so the definition of the strategy and the plans. Then we are relying on a lot of stakeholders to build and do the things really inside the city, so equipment, infrastructure, and services. So we need to orchestrate and collaborate. At any time, we may need to communicate to make things understandable and be sure that everyone is aligned on the same objective. We need to coordinate and to improve the execution of the project to deliver equipment and infrastructure in the right way. And at the end, we need an overall governance to be sure that all the projects are aligned. Now, if I may give you a summary of the solution. So let's again tell you that it is fully based on the 3D Experience platform. The main audience we are targeting are governments, city administrations, public agencies, and city operators. By using a common platform on the cloud or on-premise, all stakeholders can share a unified data referential, which ensures reliability and consistency of the whole city information. Therefore, the urban planning will rely on a deep understanding of the territory and relevant city data analytics, thus allowing a holistic and multi-scale approach. The implementation of urban projects will be orchestrating by a more efficient coordination and execution, thus accelerating the delivery of new services. By handling complex and multidisciplinary projects, the 3D Experience platform federates know-how, thus fostering innovation and business development. Furthermore, 3D representation at city scales allows to create realistic illustration and experiences either for pedagogic, engagement, or communication purposes. Finally, the 3D Experience platform provides the capabilities to manage long-term programs and deliverables, ensuring visibility and control of our project. This gives an overview of the public policies implementation and improve urban services governance by city decision makers. In summary, it is an out-of-the-box solution to connect the ecosystem of stakeholders, can be public or private actors, working together to deliver and to manage the transformation of the city in a sustainable way. And we as Dasso System, we are providing these transformation capabilities and helping them to transform and to have a roadmap for digital transformation. As you've seen, I've not been talking in the 3D, focusing on the 3D, mock-up design. This is not the case. We are not focusing neither on real-time monitoring, as we are more on the day-to-day life of the city, which is, again, a transformation process. Let me now just show you a short video, which will be a summary and give you some illustration of this solution. And let's see this video. Now, thank you for your attention. Have a good day. Bye.
はい、ありがとうございました。ではですね、ここまでで私どものインクルーシブアーバンフューチャーというソリューションをある程度理解いただけたんではないかと思います。でいよいよですね、日本の事例の話に入っていきたいんですけども、昨年の10月にですね、大手ゼネコンであります大成建設様とニュースリリースを発表しております。大成建設様はですね、国内の事業者としては初の私どものスマートシティのプラットフォームを採用いただきまして、銀座、バーチャル銀座と呼んでおりますけども、銀座のですね、モデルを作っています。で、このモデルを作る中でですね、ゼネコンとして新しいセッションに対する提案のモデル、例えばエリアとしてどのような提案をしていくのかとかですね、例えばあとファシリティマネジメントにどのように関わっていくのか、 そういった新しいモデルをですね、作り上げていくものとして、この取り組みを進められています。では、この辺りのですね、バーチャル銀座の詳細を私どものエンジニア、佐藤秀夫の方から詳細をご紹介したいと思います。
それでは、大成建設様の銀座での取り組みについて動画でご紹介いたします。大成建設様では、都市のデジタルツインの重要性を認識されまして、今後デジタルツインを活用していくための、まず第一段階としまして、銀座の街のモデルを作成しました。そして、標準機能でどういったことができるのかという検討をしています。で、まず、このような都市モデル上で、距離の計測をしたり、面積を測ったりすることが、できます。そしてさらに、サンプルのデータを追加しまして、その建物の属性情報などを使って、いろんな検索をしたり、色分け表示をして分布を見たり、する、例がこちらになります。で、どのような属性情報を使うかというのは、ケースバイケースで、任意に、設定することができます。そして、すべてを 3D の情報にするわけではなく、やはり2次元の情報というのも重要になります。ですので、このように 3D のモデルの上に2次元の情報を重ねて、地域の情報と 3D のモデルを合わせていろんな検討を行います。さらに、地域の情報を使って、このようなヒートマップを作成したりすることで、統計情報を可視化することができます。さらに 3D のモデルですので、このようにですね、ある地点から指定した方向を見たときにどのように見えるかといった検討をすることができます。で、こちら見える範囲が緑色、見えない範囲が赤色で表示されていますけども、例えば、広告が見えるところによって、広告の値段を決めたり、あとはランドマークの見え方によって部屋の料金を決めたりといった使い方が考えられます。で、さらに 3D のモデル、ですので、このように日時を指定すると影がどのようにできるか、といったシミュレーションをすることができます。で、また、都市部では、地下の構造というのも非常に、重要になってきます。そこでこのようにですね、地下の構造物を、3D のモデルと合わせて表示することもできるようになっています。
はい、ありがとうございました。以上でですね、私どものプレゼンテーションの内容はすべてお届けしたことになりますが、最後にまとめをしたいと思います。私どもダッソーシステムではですね、3D エクスペリエンスプラットフォームという技術の基盤を持っておりまして、この中でコモンデータエンバラメント、必要な情報がすべて統合された環境というものを作り上げてですね、都市計画のサポートをしていきたいと思っております。皆様ぜひですね、ご興味がありましたら、私どもダッソシステムズの方にコンタクトいただければと思います。個別にですね、詳細の打ち合わせなどももちろん可能ですので、お気軽にコンタクトいただければと思います。本日は最後までご清聴いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。